We're getting ready to write some epic poetry today, talking about these Seeker cards in the Drowned City expansion to Arkham Horror LCG. On Optimal Play, I'm Brandon.
I'm Steven.
I'm Kyle.
Wow. I make these up as I go along. I don't know if it shows.
You couldn't tell. That was seamless.
Can you make up a poem right now?
No.
Well, then you are not Lucius Galloway, the poet.
I guess not. You want to, or should we get right in? You want to tell us about Lucius Galloway?
Yeah. So, Lucius Galloway, I am also going to be discovering his flavor text as we go along.
Live on camera?
Okay. So, he's a Southern transplant, raised in New York. Lucius has made quite a name for himself writing dreamy poetry alongside the intellectuals, artists, and musicians of Harlem. What his contemporaries don't know is that the hazy underwater city Lucius describes is inspired not by New York, but by the nightmarish dreams of Brooklyn. His missing partner, Rudy. Before he disappeared, Rudy spoke of a cabal of fellow dreamers in Arkham who shared these unsettling visions. Now, Lucius has taken on the role of a guest lecturer at Miskatonic University as he searches for his lost lover and perhaps the source of his own horrifying dreams.
I don't think I realized that Lucius was another LGBT investigator, which I think is implied by the name Rudy. I guess so.
Yeah. I would think
I don't know for sure.
Yeah. I don't think there's many female Rudys out there.
Okay, so he lectures.
Yeah. That's fine.
So I hope that his mechanics are closer to his poet nature than George's lawyering is.
I'm sure. There's a lot of poetry mechanics in this game.
Yeah, that's a pretty tough one. It would be a pretty tough one to capture in flavor. Although I'll say up front, if it's going to be a tough type of character to translate into the mechanics of your game, make another character. This is original.
Yeah, sure.
But anyway.
Well, his poetry format is 30 lines of poetry.
That's well done.
With seeker that are 0 to 5 syllables, and rogue cards that are 0 to 2 syllables.
Okay.
0 syllables. Pretty interesting.
Really short.
It's got to exhales.
Well, one of my favorite rogue skills is the one that's just 3 exclamation points.
And then neutral 0 to 5. What does he do? Well, he is too well, so he does not will much.
Well said.
He is 4 books, one fist. So really, as you imagine,
it's actually Marion who has 1 fist.
So yeah, he is an incredibly wimpy poet, but he's really good at running away. He probably got beat up a lot in school because he has 5 agility.
Okay. Do you like that backstory? It's like he in school he was old friends with Rita. He picked up track because he was getting beat up so much. Yeah.
He's a scholar and a dreamer, and after he successfully evades an enemy by 2 or more, he discovers a clue at his location. Did Rita also require 2 or more, or was she just any evade?
I think Rita was any evade.
I think any evade. Oh, but she had a card that if after you evaded by 2 or more, you got a clue or something like that. Belly of the Beast, I think.
Yeah.
His Elder Sign is just +1 for each enemy at your location. No extra benefits. He's 8 health, 6 sanity, and he is glad that all my dreams have stayed in my head.
I'm surprised. Isn't artist a trait that even some of the specialist cards care about? I'm surprised he's not an artist. Poets are artists.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm also kind of surprised. He's not the youngest man, and he's got 5 agility. I feel like this whole backstory that we're creating about him being bullied. If we just had put him back at 19 and been the academic,
right?
The college academic, nerdy poet.
Yeah,
it would have been fit so well.
That's true. Yeah.
Oh well.
I don't know. Having a young seeker seems weird though. I don't think there is maybe
Daisy. She's
I guess Daisy and Min do seem like young adults. I guess.
Yeah, probably 20s, 30s.
Yeah, it's the things that seeker cards do and imply that they know about or have researched and stuff. Are it would be a little silly for a teenager, I guess. But
yeah,
that's just me.
Just Doogie Howser. Come on.
So he's a classic, like Rex variant, like one extra clue per round, possibly investigator, but he does it by evading enemies.
Yep. So I think you have to put in cards, especially if you're not playing like 4-player, you probably want to put in cards that create enemies. So there's one in this box that like you finds an enemy and then you draw a bunch of cards.
Yeah, where's the party?
Where's the party?
We talked about that in Rogue, yeah.
And then if you have some previous boxes, there's another good one called Kicking's the Hornet's Nest that you find an enemy and get a clue.
Yeah, and another card that we talked about in Rogue, String Along, I think is potentially big for him because it provides gives you an evasion action, which obviously can be what generates an extra clue, and it helps him keep an enemy with him without getting attacked all the time.
And then his rogue access is also really important because at least until now, most of the ways of like investigating with agility were in rogue. Cards like lockpicks and thieves' kit. In particular, lockpicks puts him at 9 to investigate, which is really good.
Yeah.
Wow. Lockpicks also cares about succeeding by 2. So if you're going to put a lot of succeed by 2 effects in your Lucius deck, that works really well with lockpicks.
That's a good call. And lockpicks, even the higher level one is just 1. Lockpicks 1? Or
Yeah,
lockpicks 2? Yeah, so he can take that one.
Yep.
Yeah. And like pickpocketing too, he has access to as well.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is another succeed by.
Yeah, I think
for evading.
I think like Trish is a rogue who often plays more yellow than green cards, and I think he's the flip of that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
He's likely to play more green than yellow cards. But he has some non-colored cards.
Exactly.
So his Book of Verse is a uncommonplace book. It is 2 cost.
Is that that's its subtitle?
Yep.
Uncommonplace?
Yep.
All right.
Oh, you know what? There is a game store in New York called the Uncommons. I wonder if it's a reference to that.
It feels like it must be a reference to something because uncommonplace is just means rare, right?
Yeah.
And I guess rare book would be a boring subtitle, but
I wonder if it's if he's supposed to be a New York character, if it's specifically a reference to the Uncommons.
Interesting.
Does it say when he transplanted? Like
to Arkham?
no, to the south.
It was
right?
like 2011.
No, he's at Miskatonic University. He's not in the South. What are you talking about?
No. He's a
Southern transplant, raised in New York.
Yeah.
Oh.
So he was like in New York for a period, then went
So
to
he
the
was
south.
like a child.
I think he
in
was
the
like a
South.
baby.
Yeah.
Would be my guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm a LA transplant, raised in New York. Maybe I'm Lucius.
I thought when you say you're a something transplant, you're referring to the place that you came from.
I think so. I think he was
When
a baby.
he's a southern transplant, he came from the South to New York.
Oh.
So you're not an LA transplant, you're a New York transplant. I think that's the way you use the word. I could be wrong.
I don't know.
I feel like to
I'm
say
no
that
poet.
you're raised... I agree with you, and I think to say raised in New York, you have to have been in New York at least by the time you were 10. Like, if you were 15 and you got to New York, you weren't raised in New York.
Agreed.
So, like, he had to move from the South to New York between 0 and 10.
Yes.
All right, I'm glad we figured it out.
Does this uncommon book do anything?
Yes, it's an item in a tome, so it's great and Daisy. And then it says Lucius Galloway deck only, so terrible.
Yeah, terrible for Daisy, yeah.
It uses 1 inspiration. That's how much he gets as a poet. However,
This one.
he can replenish this inspiration the first time you discover a clue each round. So I guess it's your daily inspiration. And as a reaction, after revealing chaos tokens during a skill test, spend your inspiration. You get +1 skill value for this skill test. If you succeed by exactly 0, draw 1 card. So it's good if you were about to fail because you succeed and draw a card.
I didn't realize until you moved your hand because I was looking kind of over your shoulder at it that it doesn't take up a slot. Even though it's an item in a tome, it's a little weird for it to not take up a slot.
Yeah.
So I had assumed it was hand slot, and I thought it was trash. Now that it's slotless, I think it's all right.
Fine.
Yeah.
Well,
It's like, what's the survivor ally that does the same thing?
Granny Orn?
Yeah, Granny Orn, like, the ability to react after the chaos token is drawn is very powerful, especially if it's the difference of failing by 1.
That's true. It's just like a... And it's funny that this doesn't exhaust, but you can only have 1 inspiration on it, so it might as well. I guess that the only difference between it exhausting and having this replenishing inspiration system is that he has to discover a clue to
You can use it twice in a turn
in a
if
turn.
you didn't use it last turn.
Yep.
So you use it once, you get a clue, you use it again.
That's true. Yeah.
So it's a little funky like that. It'll be average out to be once per turn, but you can use it twice in a turn.
But in fact, like if you were investigating, you fail by 1. Now you use your inspiration, and it's your first clue. You get the clue, you draw a card, and you get your inspiration back. Seems great.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I hadn't totally processed that this is after revealing chaos tokens. I was thinking it was a +1, and then if you happen to land on 0, draw a card. But
yeah, and I mean, I don't even think 0 is.
I mean, it's almost weird that it says if you succeed by exactly 0, because the time to use this is if you're down by 1. Right?
Well, no, I actually
or
don't.
up by 1.
I don't think so. I think actually, like, if I'm evading and I'm -1, I let it fail because succeeding on evade by 0 is actually really bad. It means I can't evade him again to get that clue. So I would much rather wait until I'm like succeeding by 1 to make it succeed by 2.
That's true.
I don't actually want to
his ability.
succeed, so
Yeah.
it's actually like depending on the test, I might be quite happy to leave it at -1. Wait till I'm +1, or there's plenty of other thresholds that you might want.
Yeah, this also works well with all the Seeker cards in kind of weirdly I feel like over the last 3 boxes or so, there's been like this trickling out archetype about like trying to land on certain succeed by values. And this works great with that. It's just only for this Seeker specifically, who mostly wants to probably play other cards.
Well, I think that Lucius probably plays every succeed by a specific number, or most of them. I mean, some of them might use the same slots, but I think Lucius probably plays most of them. Also, a lot of those cards are rogue as well. So, like Opportunist, for example, rogue card.
That's true. It's true. It does go great
Opportunist
with
is a
rogue.
great
Okay.
one.
Yeah. I was being
the
a
one
little
that gives you an action for succeeding by 2 is a rogue card.
Good thinking.
I was being a little narrow-minded. You're right. This is just have to have this on an asset on a slotless asset is like pretty good.
Yeah. I like the pushing to succeed or pushing to get by +2. I think is really good in him.
His weakness is Dreams of the Flood. It is a omen of the end times. Revelation, put it into play in your threat area, and then forced. The first time you discover 1 or more clues during your turn, take a horror and shuffle it back into your deck.
This is so much tamer than George's weakness.
Oh,
we just came off of George. Like,
I actually kind of think this one is worse because
Really?
you never get rid of it.
yeah, but you draw it like twice the first time through your deck, and then you just kind of make sure to cycle your deck if you're getting to that point, so that it shuffles into a full deck. It's like, I don't know. I think this maybe deals 2 or 3 horror to you spread out over the course of the game.
Yeah, but it's also like 2 or 3 times that you're not getting your regular
just
draw.
looking at his threshold.
He does have only 6 sanity. Yeah, I don't know if we talked about that, but that's pretty low. That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't include it in one of my 5 cards because I don't think it's that interesting, but there's like a new Seeker asset that heals horror. And I was like, why? Like, this is so random. Why are you like getting me a clue and healing horror? And I think it's specifically to try to deal with his weakness.
Sure, that makes sense. Yeah.
But yeah, it's rough. It's like not that bad
seems
each
fine.
time individually, but I do hate the ones that like keep coming back.
Yeah. I guess if he has enough draw to mitigate it, it's fine. But yeah, dead draws suck. I agree.
It's weird that it's the first time you discover 1 or more clues. Meaning, if you draw this mid-turn after you've discovered one, you wouldn't trigger it until the next time you... Like, I don't understand why it looks for the first time you discover.
True.
Maybe it's just to protect you against like shuffling it to the top of your deck, drawing it again, and then triggering it a second time in turn. Or
That's true.
I don't know. I don't know. It's an odd little extra thing to think about that I don't really know why they would put that. Why they would waste the text on that.
I mean, maybe it's just a way to deter you from doing the thing that you're really good at doing. If you're like, oh shit, I'm 2 sanity away from dying, maybe I don't want to get this clue right now.
I mean, sure, yeah, but it would do that just as well if it just said when you discover a clue, rather than dealing with the first time you discover a clue during your turn. Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, I nitpick. Any other cards that excite you in Seeker?
Totally. So the first one is one that goes really well with Lucius. It's Alton O'Connell, the Ghost Hunter.
Ooh.
It's a 3-cost asset with book and agility icons, and it's an allied detective and reporter. You get +1 agility, so that puts him up to 6. As a reaction, after you succeed at a skill test by exactly 3, maybe because of Book of Verse, place a resource on Alton O'Connell as evidence. And then you can, and that does not exhaust him. So, in fact, you could do that 3 times, right? If you succeed at 3 skill tests in 1 turn, you could
by exactly 3. Sure, yeah. Well, you get 3 evidence.
Yeah. But you can exhaust him and spend X evidence, discover 1 clue at your location. X is the shroud value of your location.
Yeah, thank goodness that this doesn't make the Blood of Thoth mistake and exhaust for both of these things.
Yeah,
so,
totally.
I can only do this every 4 turns or whatever. This is really cool.
We won't be talking about that card.
So if you haven't played with Lola, who's Lola Santiago, not the bad Lola, but Lola Santiago, one of the tricks you can do with these kinds of cards is use them while reducing the shroud. So you might want to take Flashlight and Lucius, mostly so that you can save 2 evidence when using Alton O'Connell.
Interesting.
In the middle of the Flashlight test.
Yeah.
You also Lucius unfortunately can't take Lola. She's a 3 XP.
Yeah, she only exists at eye level, huh? Yeah.
But he can take Skeleton Key, which is I think 2 XP exceptional,
And that reduces
shroud to 1.
Yeah.
For your location. So combos really well with that too.
That is a nice combo. I like that. Yeah, and I like Alton. I think that it's a cool little. I don't know. I've always liked cards that sort of have a little quest for you and then a payoff. So this scratches that itch for me. I like it a lot. For sure. It's as far as Lucius's ally choice, it would be nice if he had more sanity.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think they go great together and it's super fun.
Yep. Next up is Correlate All Its Contents.
I just hate the name of this card. Go on.
It's a 1-cost event. Will and intellect icons. It's an insight. And this is, I think, probably more of an Agatha card. But it does tie in with Lucius somewhat. So it's a investigate. You may cancel the first chaos token revealed for this skill test. Return it to the bag and reveal a new one. If you succeed at this skill test, place 1 charge or secret on an asset controlled by an investigator at your location. Parentheses, if you succeed by exactly 1 or 3, place 2 charges or secrets on that asset instead. So I think this is trying to have its cake and eat it too, of it ties in with the succeed by a specific amount of Lucius, but also with it's an insight and it's all about token cancellation, so it ties in with Agatha as well.
Yeah, I feel like this, in the cards in this box, they kind of arbitrarily sprinkled in a lot of this type of canceling effect just to trigger Agatha in a way that feels a little forced to me. It doesn't really belong on this card, I feel like. And I hate the name of it. I googled this phrase because when this card was previewed, I was just flabbergasted. Correlate all its contents is the most batshit crazy name for a card in a card game I've ever heard. It turns out that it's a Lovecraft excerpt. I don't remember the context beyond that. I still think I would not have chosen it to title a card with.
Definitely would not be one of the lines in my poem.
No.
Hard to rhyme with, I think.
Yeah, it's cool. It's for a niche kind of deck, I think, where you have an asset or 2 that you really want to keep replenishing, because it's core to your kind of,
or you're playing it with the
plan, right?
Mystic, and trying to help them keep their spell charged or whatever.
Yeah, I think this is probably 70% an Agatha card, because one thing about Agatha, who we haven't talked about yet, but she plays a insight from the discard at the end of the turn, is that she likes insights and spells that they're not a reaction to something like a ward of protection. That ideally they're not enemy management, because you don't really want to wait till the end of the turn to deal with enemies. So even just the first word, investigate. Well, I got a free investigate at the end of my turn.
She likes investigate events because it's pretty easy to make that useful at the end of your turn. Yeah.
Then on top of that, it's a little bit easier to succeed at because being able to cancel the first token. And then on top of that, you also get a charge or secret. I think in Agatha, I'm probably not like building around making sure that I always get 1 or 3. I'm just happy to get an investigate that also places a single charge or secret, and like randomly, I occasionally
sometimes
get
gets an upside. Yeah, I think that's a fine way of looking at it.
A tiny aside, but isn't there like a rogue tarot that sits in play and you can exhaust it for like a +1 to a passing
Yes,
test?
I think that might be. That's like from the new set of tarots, the 3XP. So
Yeah.
I think that means Lucius can't play
The
it.
new set from Return to Circle and
Well,
Dawn in like 2019 or something.
It's
right?
much newer than the old tarots.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't think
So he
Lucius
can't
can
take it.
that. Yeah.
All right. It's a bummer.
So yeah, if you're playing a Lucius that has some really powerful charges or secrets, you might play it because he actually does have a good shot of hitting the 1 or 3. But yeah, it's I think a very good Agatha card.
Okay, great.
Next up is Uncanny Specimen, a 1-cost asset.
Okay.
It's myriad and fast. Oh, and a creature and science.
That's fun.
Up to 3 Uncanny Specimen cards can take up 1 arcane slot. I think this is a mechanic we've seen a couple times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think maybe just on purple cards.
Yeah.
Maybe just some
missed
purple
it.
cards. Certainly with arcane slot. And then as a reaction, when a skull, cultist, tablet, or elder thing symbol is revealed during a skill test at your location, discard Uncanny Specimen, cancel that chaos token, return it to the chaos bag, and reveal a new one. If this test is successful, draw 1 card. So I think this is definitely an Agatha card. I don't think it's a Lucius card at all.
They're fast, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it basically triggers her ability, every time you use it.
If you use it for her test during her turn, right? Because this is flexible, right? It's during a test at your location.
True,
It would
yes.
only trigger her if it's during her turn.
Yeah. So if it's important enough, you could use it on someone else's turn.
Right,
even
right.
If you don't.
Yeah, I think it's all right. I think it's weird. I think that this box, in supporting Agatha, it's like bleeding purple into yellow in a weird way. Like this feels like a purple card in every way.
Yeah.
This is a purple card printed up with a yellow background for some reason. And I think I don't really know why.
Yeah, if it weren't for the name and art, I would say, like, why is this not a purple card? But, like, the specimen is, like, science traded.
Yeah, they flavored it like a seeker card, but mechanically, this is purple from start to finish.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, that's a little weird. And it feels like a Marvel Champions cards. Marvel Champions card, singular. Marvel Champions does a lot of play things now to discard them from play when relevant later, instead of just making reactive events from hand.
Yep.
And the reason for that in Marvel Champions is because you cycle through your hand every round. So having reactive events in that it's very hard to line them up with them being in your hand at the time that the thing matters. So it's a little weird to bring that mechanic here, because I think this would work just fine as a 1-cost event. And then it wouldn't have the downside of
Taking
hogging
up a
an arcane slot. Yeah.
Well, and I think the arcane slot is why I actually think this is better in Seeker Agatha than like Mystic Agatha or anyone else that has Seeker Mystic access, because like I think Seeker Agatha probably doesn't care so much about using 1 arcane slot with this, but Mystic Agatha has access to like really powerful spells, so probably doesn't play this, or at least levels out of it as she gets better. Mystic cards.
Yeah, it's fine. I kind of just don't get why it exists, but why it exists in the form that it exists. But as far as its effect, like it's unobjectionable.
Yeah, it's at least.
But it's like, would you play it outside Agatha? Probably not.
Probably not.
No, but I think if you want to play Agatha and don't want to play Olive, just because you like want to play a different ally,
Sure.
it's a nice reliable repeat way.
Yeah, and I do think for Agatha, the sake of all these cards being interesting for Agatha, it's good that, at least in theory, Olive will be rotating out of the current format with the announcements we talked about in previous videos, because every time I read one of these cards that sort of has a cancel or an ignore or something sprinkled on it clearly for Agatha's sake, I'm like, but she can only do it once per turn and she has Olive, so none of this matters. But when Olive rotates out, or at least level 0 Olive rotates out, then that's a little bit more of a factor, yeah.
Well, this one's definitely a Lucius one. Artistic Inspiration. It's a 2-cost asset with a wild icon. It's a talent. Limit 1 per investigator uses inspiration. So yet another inspiration for Lucius.
Yeah, flavorfully, that feels like it's meant to go with him for sure. Because that's his it was his signature asset that did inspiration? Yeah.
But he's not an artist.
It's true.
True. They should have given the artist straight.
He's a scholar. It's inspiring his
should have been called
collections.
Poetic Justice.
Ooh, that's a good.
Ooh.
That would be a great name for
Wow.
Lucius card. Damn. Oh.
Maybe he's
Hi,
bearing the
man.
lead.
Yeah.
He's at the bottom of the stack here. He actually drew up a mock.
There we go. Yeah. Anyway, you were saying.
So you can, as a fast reaction, you can exhaust Artistic Inspiration and discard a card from your hand to replenish an inspiration on this card. And then after, and then can George take this because it does
He can
discard
take
a
level
card.
zero, a limited number of level 0 seeker cards. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he can.
Up to 10, I think.
After revealing Chaos tokens for a skill test you are performing, spend an inspiration. You get +1 or -1 skill value for this skill test.
So it's actually quite similar to his signature assets.
Yes,
And
except
that-
it can go down
Yeah, but
Is
yeah,
it
it's funny.
after drawing again?
after revealing.
Whoa.
It's funny that so two slotless cards that both use this replenishing inspiration and use it to after you draw a token modify your result. Like it's eerily similar. But obviously this one is more flexible because other seekers or characters like George can take it. I do think it's most interesting as a George card because of the discard costs. But seekers in general, I think it makes sense actually in this case. I was complaining about the color pie decisions they made with Uncanny Specimen, but here, because seekers have so much card draw, it feels a little bit natural for the discarding effects to bleed into yellow a little bit because it just synergizes with what they're doing in that way.
Yeah, so I think
cool.
It's always going to cost Lucius something because he can't really take any cards that you want to discard.
Yeah.
But it's probably worth it for the flexibility.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's on theme.
Yeah. And if you're using it to investigate and you're down 2, you can spend the Book of Verse, spend this. You'll succeed by 0, so Book of Verse will draw you a card, which effectively recharges this, and you'll get a clue, which recharges Book of Verse. So,
Well,
This art is kind of cool. It's like a man looking at himself in a mirror and then like locking eyes with himself and then kind of painting himself off to the side, but it's like a monstrous version of himself. It's I dig it.
so he gets inspiration from himself.
yeah, he looks at he looks in the mirror for inspiration. Yeah, as we all do. I know that's how I wake up and start every day.
I think it's missing the what's the term? A narcissist trait.
Oh, yeah.
All right, these have all been level 0, but I can see over there that you picked a high level card to end on.
So the last one I want to cover is Antikythera, right? That's or
Antikythera, or I would say Antikythera, I guess.
Yeah. My favorite ant. It's a prophetic timepiece.
My mom's sister Kythera.
It's a 3-cost, 5 XP assets, 1 book and 2 wilds. Item, relic, and science. Reaction: after you succeed at a skill test, exhaust Antikythera. If you succeed by exactly 1 or 3, discover a clue at your location, or exactly 2 or 4, draw a card and gain a resource. Or exactly 5, you may take an additional action during your next turn. So not this one, which is good because it allows you to use it in the Mythos phase. Like, I guess, yeah. So, some pretty...
Yeah, I think this card's cool. At 5 XP, it's hard to say how good it is.
Seems fun.
But it's a cool kind of punchline to this trickling out archetype of succeeding by specific amounts. And this is not even really succeeding by a specific amount. It kind of rewards you no matter
0.
what.
Except for succeeding by 6 or 7.
I guess that's true. Or 0.
Yeah,
But,
0. So.
But it goes great for Lucius with these other cards to get him the specific outcome he wants here.
Yeah, I feel like the sweet spot probably is to evade by 3, because then you get a clue from Lucius, you get an evidence from Alton, and you get another clue from Antikythera. So that's like 2.5 clues basically from a single evade.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, it is a little bit of a shame that this exhausts, so it's only once per
True.
per round.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and I think that the splashiest result here is that additional action, but it's going to be pretty rare.
And also, like, I hate the additional action only because it's like, how do you make, like, if you do this as your first action, you pass by 5, are you going to remember you have an extra action next turn after all of this has been done?
Yeah, I had the same gripe about Agatha herself, that she requires you to, like, make a mental note that you, like, drew 2 tokens and chose one and ignored the other from some effect, and then at the end of her turn that resolves. These designers seem a little more willing to kind of make you track some of those things, I think, which I'm not the biggest fan of.
Just like turn on like a little light at your station, be like, I've hit this.
Right.
Why is this light? Oh yeah, I can do this thing.
But I don't know, a lot of people play with like action trackers anyway. And I think that this is a game that does. It depends on the character you play some too, but it does benefit from doing that because some actions with multiple things happening during a test and stuff, like it can be easy to lose track. So if you're doing that anyway, you just pull out a 4th one or turn one sideways or something as a reminder.
Sure.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me too much.
You already need those extra click trackers for bide your time, so.
So true. I play that often.
I had to think about what is that.
I put that into a lot of decks, and I don't think I've ever made through the cutting room floor.
Right.
But it's waiting for its time.
It's just biding its time.
And this is accessory slot, so it's competing, I feel like, with not a lot, at least in Seeker, at level 0, but it is competing with some of their other high-level things.
It is actually, Lucius definitely wants Lucky Cigarette Case,
true.
because he's succeeding by 2 all the time.
Yeah.
That's so true.
So maybe you're taking Relic Hunter,
You might be taking Relic Hunter
this is a cult,
before
right? No, this is not the one. You had pointed out off camera that there was that thing that gives you a slot for occults helps with one of these. Or maybe it was that, you pointed that out because Agatha's signature competes with this.
Yes, yeah. I didn't pick Oculus Mortem because it's like sort of an Agatha card, but it's like exactly the same slot as her signature. I just feel like I wouldn't play it that often. It's not that card's not so good. I would take Relic Hunter for.
That's a neutral card, right?
That's a secret card.
Oh, it is. Oh, yeah. I don't know why I pictured that on a neutral frame.
But yeah, this card might be good enough. Especially if you're taking it near the end of the campaign. Maybe you've got more XP than you know what to do with. You might take Relic Hunter and this.
I think it's interesting that you what we're doing. I don't think I even reiterated on this one. This is our 3rd video at this point in this format, but you chose your kind of the 5 highlights you wanted to talk about. You didn't choose the research card from this box,
yeah, so that
which obviously is a highlight for a lot of people, and it's something people look forward to seeing how it develops. It does compete for a slot with this.
Yeah, so that one is also a relic slot, and I think it synergizes a bit more with Agatha, but again, it's like not quite worth like taking Relic Hunter, and I think her signature is quite strong.
I found the research card in this box. I'm blanking on the name of it. Kind of baffling. Like
Dial of Ancients.
Dial of Ancients. Thank you. The 3 upgraded versions of it all key into one of the 3 things that triggers Agatha in a way that looked designed for Agatha, but then to research it you have to evade 4 enemies, which is like not something you want to have to build Agatha's deck to do.
I think if I was to try to do it in Agatha, well, first of all, she doesn't have to be the one evading. So you either want to pair with an evader, or you just want to take lots of ways to cheat secrets, such as correlate all its contents, and just try to cheat it rather than actually trying to evade. Like, I'm not going to like put manual dexterity in my Agatha just to try to research it. But I might put correlate all its contents and like enraptured to try to cheat it.
And then all on the way on Dial of Ancients, it's limit 1 per deck for no discernible reason, which means you can't shrewd analysis it. It means you are less likely to draw it in scenario 1 of the campaign, or campaign with time left to research it. Like I don't
both the unupgraded and upgraded copy, right?
Yeah. It's a weird choice to me, and none of the upgrades seem so powerful that they need that limitation. I don't know.
You can still shrewd analysis if you just hate making choices. You have a lot of AP, and you're like, I don't want to like decide which upgrade to do.
Yeah.
You could still shrewd analysis and just pick one at random. That's a good point.
Although nothing is stopping you from just doing that without shrewd analysis telling you.
Maybe when shrewd analysis rotates out, they'll print a variant on it that is like choose randomly and get a 2 experience discount or something. Right? That then will work with that stuff.
I like that.
Yeah. Maybe that would have been better if that's what it was in the first place. It would have been a little more flexible with these different designs. All right, very cool. Well, thank you guys for a fun conversation. Thank you for watching our third of 6 videos. So please make sure to subscribe and hit the like button, and we will keep them coming as we still have the purple, blue, and weird gray black cards left to talk about.
There's so many. I can't wait to see what Steven picked.
On the specialist cards, there are a lot of specialist cards. Yeah. So I'm on the edge of my seat too. All right, we'll be back soon. Till then, be optimal.